The blizzard hit Outpost Theta 7 like the wrath of an angry god. Dr. Marcus Webb stood at the reinforced windows of the research station, watching the snow tear past in horizontal sheets driven by winds that exceeded 120 kilometers per hour. The temperature outside had dropped to -60 Celsius. Nothing could survive out there. Nothing. Still no signal from Dr. Carlson's team, he asked without turning around. No, sir, Lieutenant Chen replied from the communications station. Last transmission was 6 hours ago. They were 3 clicks from Base Camp Alpha when the storm hit. No response since. Marcus's jaw tightened. Dr. Carlson and her survey team, 2 humans and the Gentai xenobiologist herself, had been studying the native ice formations when the weather turned. They should have made it to shelter, should have. Sir, you can't be thinking, Chen started. Prep the emergency transport. Full storm gear. I'm going out there. Dr. Webb, regulations clearly state that no one leaves the station during a Class 5 blizzard. The visibility is 0. The cold will kill you in minutes, and even if you found them, if they're alive, they won't be for long, not in this. Marcus was already moving toward the equipment locker. I've worked with Dr. Carlson for 3 years. I'm not leaving her to freeze to death. Then I'm coming with you. No, you're staying here to coordinate. If we don't make it back, someone needs to report what happened. 20 minutes later, Marcus was suited up in the heaviest cold weather gear the station possessed, loaded into a tracked emergency vehicle that could theoretically handle the terrain, and heading out into a blizzard that was trying very hard to kill him. The transport's sensors could barely penetrate the snow. Marcus drove by dead reckoning and prayer, following the last known trajectory of Carlson's team. The vehicle bucked and shuddered against the wind. Ice formed on the viewports faster than the defrosters could clear it. This was insane. This was suicide, but he kept driving. 3 kilometers had never felt so long. Marcus was beginning to think he'd missed them entirely, that they were already dead and buried under meters of snow, when the thermal scanner picked up something. A faint heat signature, almost gone but not quite. He turned toward it, pushing the transport as fast as he dared. The signature grew stronger, and then through the screaming white chaos he saw it, a figure hunched against the wind, barely moving. Marcus activated the emergency lights and siren, then threw open the transport door. The cold hit him like a physical blow, stealing his breath, biting through his suit. He staggered forward, grabbed the figure, and dragged them toward the vehicle. It was Dr. Carlson. The Gentai scientist was barely conscious, her normally violet skin pale and frost-covered, her breathing shallow. Marcus pulled her into the transport and slammed the door shut, cranking the heat to maximum. "Carlson, can you hear me? Where are the others?" Her eyes fluttered open, beautiful silver eyes that were clouding with hypothermia. "Gone," she managed. "Cave, collapse, only me. Jesus, okay, I've got you. We're going back to the station, just hold on." He started to turn the transport around when her hand shot out and grabbed his wrist with surprising strength. "Wait, see, can't. The P package." "What package?" "Have to deliver to Human Command before She fumbled at her pack with frozen fingers. Before they find out, Marcus helped her open the pack. Inside, wrapped in thermal insulation and sealed in a containment vessel, was a data core. But not just any data core, this one had Gentai Imperial markings on it. "What is this?" Marcus asked. "Evidence," Kaleson said, her voice barely a whisper. "Of what? What my government is planning against Earth, against the Alliance. W weapon, biological, hidden in the ice samples." The words hit Marcus like a freight train. "You're saying the Gentai Empire is developing biological weapons here on this planet, not just developing, testing on the native ecosystems, planning to deploy against human colonies if treaty negotiations fail." She gripped his arm harder. "I discovered it 3 days ago, copied everything they know. I took it, the survey team. They weren't just scientists, they were Imperial security sent to retrieve the data to eliminate me. The cave collapse I see caused it, only way to escape. Then the blizzard," she laughed, a bitter sound. Almost died anyway." Marcus looked at the data core, then at the dying Gentai scientist who'd risked everything to expose her own government's plans. Why betray your own people?" "Because it's wrong, because I've worked with humans for 3 years. You're not enemies, you're friends, colleagues. You risked your life to come out here for me. My government would have let you die and called it acceptable losses." Her eyes were closing. Marcus checked her vitals, dangerously low body temperature, failing circulation, multiple signs of severe frostbite. She needed medical attention immediately. But if what she was saying was true, if this data core really contained evidence of a Gentai bio-weapon program, then getting it to Alliance Command was more important than anything else. It could prevent a war, could save billions of lives. It could also make them the most hunted people in the sector. "The Imperial security team," Marcus said. "They're dead." "I think so. The collapse was extensive, but they'll send others. Once the storm clears, once they realize I survived." She opened her eyes again. "You have to get the data to safety, even if I don't. You're going to make it, both of us are, but we can't go back to the station." "What? If Imperial security knows you took the data, they know where you were working. The station will be their first target. We go back there, we're trapped." Marcus was already plotting a course in his head. "There's an abandoned mining facility about 50 clicks north. Off the official maps left over from the first colonial surveys. We can hole up there until the storm passes, then make for the Alliance military outpost at Fort Meridian. That's 200 clicks across ice fields and mountain ranges. In this weather, we'll wait out the worst of the storm, but we have to move before they close the net." He started the transport moving, heading north. "Just stay with me, Kaleson, stay awake." "Trying," she murmured. "Marcus, if I don't make it, you'll make it. If I don't, promise me, promise you'll get the data to Alliance Command, whatever it takes." Marcus looked at her, this brilliant scientist who'd thrown away everything to do the right thing, who was dying from exposure and betrayal and the cruel mathematics of -60-degree weather. "I promise," he said, "but you're going to deliver it yourself. You're going to stand in front of Alliance Command and tell them exactly what your government tried to do. You've earned that." She smiled weakly. "Optimistic for a human. We're stubborn like that." The journey to the mining facility was a nightmare. The storm fought them every meter, wind threatening to flip the transport, snow piling up faster than the vehicle could push through it. Marcus's hands cramped on the controls, his eyes burning from staring at the barely visible terrain. And through it all, he kept talking to Kaleson about their research, about her homeworld, about stupid jokes and shared meals, and the time she'd accidentally gotten drunk on human coffee because Gentai metabolized caffeine as an intoxicant, keeping her awake, keeping her alive. They reached the mining facility 4 hours later, just as the transport's power reserves hit critical levels. The facility was a collection of prefab buildings half buried in snow and ice, abandoned for 15 years but still structurally sound. Marcus got Kaleson inside, started emergency heat and lights from backup generators, and set about trying to save her life with the medical supplies he'd grabbed from the transport. It wasn't enough. Not nearly enough. Her body temperature was too low. Her circulatory system was failing. Gentai physiology was different enough from human that standard hypothermia treatments didn't work properly. She needed a medical facility with species-specific equipment. She needed things he couldn't give her. "I'm sorry," he said, adjusting the thermal blankets around her for the dozenth time. "I'm sorry I can't do more." "You did everything," Kaleson said. Her voice was weaker now, her skin taking on a gray pallor that Marcus had learned to recognize as Gentai oxygen deprivation. "More than anyone else would have. You came out in a killer blizzard for me." "Of course I did." "Why?" Marcus sat back, exhausted and terrified and out of options. "Because you're my friend, because you're a good person, because I couldn't live with myself if I didn't try." "Humans," she said with a faint smile. "So illogical, so beautiful. Save your strength." "For what? I'm dying, Marcus. We both know it." She reached for the data core with trembling fingers. "Take it, promise me, one more time." "Kaleson, promise. I promise I'll get it to Alliance Command. I'll make sure everyone knows what you did, that you died a hero." "Not a hero, just someone who tried to do the right thing." Her eyes closed. Her breathing became more labored. Marcus sat beside her, holding her hand, as the storm raged outside and the most important evidence in the galaxy sat in a containment vessel beside them. She died 3 hours later, quietly, her hand still in his. Marcus sat there for a long time after, staring at nothing, feeling the weight of his promise settle on his shoulders like lead. Then he stood up, gently arranged her body in a position of respect according to Gentai customs, and picked up the data core. "I'll finish this," he told her still form. "I swear to you, I'll finish this." The storm lasted another 36 hours. Marcus used that time to study the data core's contents, to understand exactly what Kaleson had died protecting. And with every file he opened, his horror grew. The Gentai Empire had developed a targeted biological weapon, a pathogen designed specifically to attack human neurological systems while leaving other species untouched. They'd been testing it on the ice planet's native microorganisms, using them as vectors, perfecting it. And according to the files, they were planning to deploy it within 3 months if treaty negotiations didn't go their way. It would kill billions. When the storm finally broke, Marcus loaded the data core into the transport, took one last look at Kelson's body. He'd buried her as best he could with full honors, and started the long journey to Fort Meridian. He made it 50 kilometers before they found him. 3 Gentai Imperial security vessels appeared on his scanners, closing fast. They'd been waiting for the storm to clear, searching. And they'd found him. Marcus pushed the transport to its limits, racing across the ice fields. The military outpost was still 150 clicks away. He'd never make it. The security vessels opened fire warning shots, trying to disable his transport without destroying the data core he carried. Marcus swerved and dodged, using every trick he knew, but it wasn't enough. A shot clipped his rear thruster. The transport spun out, slamming into a snowbank and rolling 3 times before coming to rest upside down. Marcus hung in his harness, blood running from a gash on his forehead, the world spinning. He could see figures approaching through the cracked view screen, Gentai soldiers in full combat armor. They were going to take the data core, going to destroy the evidence, going to make sure Kelson's sacrifice meant nothing, like hell. Marcus grabbed the core, kicked out the emergency exit, and started running. The soldiers fired stun rounds. One hit his shoulder, sending him sprawling. He got up, kept running. Another hit his leg. He stumbled, caught himself, pushed forward. He could see the ridgeline ahead. If he could just reach it, there was a chance. A slim chance, but a stun round hit him square in the back. Marcus went down hard, the data core flying from his hands. He tried to reach for it, but his muscles wouldn't respond, paralyzed. The soldiers surrounded him. Their commander, a tall Gentai female with cruel eyes, picked up the data core. "Dr. Marcus Webb," she said in perfect English. "You have caused us considerable trouble, but it ends now." She raised her weapon, and then the sky lit up with weapons fire. Alliance military shuttles screamed overhead, their guns blazing. The Gentai soldiers scattered, returning fire, but they were outnumbered and outgunned. Marcus watched through blurring vision as Alliance Special Forces troops rappelled down, engaging the enemy. Someone grabbed him, started dragging him to safety. "Dr. Webb, can you hear me? We got your emergency beacon." "Hold on, we've got you." Emergency beacon. Marcus didn't remember activating. Wait, the data core. Kelson must have rigged it with a tracker beacon keyed to Alliance military frequencies. Insurance in case something went wrong. Even dead, she'd been protecting the evidence. The battle was over in minutes. The Alliance troops recovered the data core and loaded Marcus onto a medical shuttle. As they lifted off, he saw the Gentai commander being taken into custody, her soldiers dead or captured. "The core," Marcus managed through numb lips. "Is it safe?" "Secure, sir. Whatever's on there, we'll make sure it gets to command. Marcus closed his eyes, exhausted beyond measure. Good, that's good. He woke up 3 days later in Fort Meridian's medical facility. The Alliance had analyzed the data core, confronted the Gentai Empire with the evidence, forced an emergency summit. The bioweapon program had been shut down. The scientists responsible were being arrested. And the Gentai government was facing severe sanctions and political fallout. War had been averted, all because one scientist had found the courage to betray her government for a principle, and because one human had made a promise he refused to break. Standing at Marcus's bedside was Admiral Chen of Alliance Command. "Dr. Webb," she said, "you did a hell of a thing. Kaleson gave her life to expose this conspiracy, and you honored that sacrifice. I just kept a promise." "You did more than that. You completed one of the most important intelligence operations in Alliance history." She placed something on the bedside table, a data chip. "Dr. Kaleson left a personal message for you in the Core's encrypted files. I thought you should have it." After the Admiral left, Marcus played the message. Kaleson's face appeared, recorded before her final survey mission. "Marcus," she said, "if you're watching this, I'm probably dead, and you're probably blaming yourself. Don't. I chose this path knowing the risks. I chose it because working beside humans taught me something my government forgot, that honor, integrity, and doing what's right matter more than politics or power." She smiled. "Thank you for being my friend, for showing me what true courage looks like, for giving me hope that our species could be better than our worst impulses. Finish what I started, make sure the truth gets out, and know that I died grateful to have known you." The message ended. Marcus sat in the quiet medical room, tears streaming down his face, and renewed his promise one final time. The blizzard had nearly killed her, but what she carried, the truth, the evidence, the courage to stand against her own empire, had been far more dangerous and far more valuable, and he would make sure the galaxy never forgot it.